In Dan Nolan, I made a very conscious decision to return to the pure documentary style of Too Much Punch for Judy. I felt that this story was best told by those people who had lived through the experience. And when directing a group of young people to perform this scene, I would say to them, trust the words because they speak for themselves. I'd encourage them to veer towards understatement rather than overstatement in their performances and allow the truth to come out. The actors need to maintain the audience's interest, and this can be done by the use of pace and by volume and by passion. And I think in this scene it's exemplified really well. Also, the narrative needs to be explained by the visuals in the scene, and the visual interest needs to be maintained. And again, as with the bouquet in Legal Weapon, I was delighted to see the cast make a decision to repeat the line about Joe's rod being tie-wrapped together as an underscore to an ongoing scene, which added the importance to that line that perhaps the line appearing only once didn't have.
Tom, off to go get some chocolate.
Will it still be open?
Should be. Closes at 11 tonight.
Joe's virtually asleep. Is it alright if I come too?
Joe, will you be alright on your own?
It'll only be a minute.
Fine, whatever. What's the time?
10:30.
Come on, Tom.
The shop was shut, but then Dan saw some lads he knew up at the bus stop. I was getting cold, so I went back down to Joe.
The lads at the bus stop told us that they'd asked Dan the time, and he was able to read his analog watch. And it would appear from these comments that, although Dan had been drinking, he was still capable and aware.
Shortly after this, the boys at the bus stop, realising the bus was not coming, get up and walk off. Daniel walks up into the high street towards the pontoon. He calls out to a woman who's parking a car.
Oi! Beep! A party at the Bugle Pub!
Walk up in the opposite direction. Another woman who knows Daniel drives down the high street and sees him. He walks to the top of the high street and has a brief conversation with the Bugle parties. His behaviour towards all of these witnesses leads the police to believe that Daniel Nolan was by any definition drunk!
Joe, how are you feeling?
Shit.
I'm freezing.
I'm not. Must be the vodka.
What do you want to do then? Where's Dan? Oh, he's gone and met some people he knows up at the bus stop.
Oh my god.
What?
How long's it going to be?
How do I know?
Tom, I've got to get home. I feel like...
Let's pack our stuff up then.
It's so friggin' cold.
A minute ago, you said you weren't.
That was a minute ago.
Oh my god. Tom, I think I'm going to be sick again.
Joe and Tom packed up their gear and walked up into the high street. They met Daniel Nolan outside the Victory pub.
My last image of Dan was coming down towards us. He seemed alright then. He could obviously hold his drink.
The facts of the last known sighting of our Dan outside the Victory Pub at 11:40 p.m. were not established until 4 weeks after Dan's disappearance. At first, the police were told that the last sighting of Dan was on the bridge of the pontoon, placing him much nearer to the water.
Dan, Joe's not feeling too good, so I'm going to take him home.
I'll come back as well. How can you help me with my staff?
I've got Joe.
He only had his and Joe's rods tied wrapped together. He only had his and Joe's rods tied wrapped together. He only had his and Joe's rods tied wrapped together.
All the time, I was talking to Dan. Joe was walking up the road, not very far apart. I was like, stuck in the middle.
Here were 3 boys who had consumed a litre bottle of vodka, which was nearly full, and 1 other caffeine-type stimulant drink, which would have increased the rush to the heart.
You could say that I made the wrong decision to decide to take Joe home. I didn't know who to go with.
None of these boys were bad lads, just normal children.
I feel guilty about it, because I could have gone down and helped Dan with his stuff.
And it would only have taken you a short while to go back down there and pick up his stuff.
I made that decision because I felt thought Joe was the worse off than Dan. And anyway, Dan seems to agree with what I was doing.
I just wanted to get home. As soon as I stood up there, I felt like I was going to be sick.
Dan said he was going to follow us up.
Witnesses talked about Daniel Nolan swaying around, discussing the quantity of alcohol he'd drunk. Even considering an element of bravado, it becomes clear that Daniel Nolan had a very significant part on his own destiny on January 1st, 2002.
The alarm that Dan had gone missing didn't go up for another 4 hours. Vital time was wasted, and all because Dan was alone.
If 3 girls had been out that evening and had been drinking, I wonder if they would have become separated. Girls are taught from a very young age about their vulnerability and are more acutely aware of
Staying together. Staying together. A girl would be more nervous about being on her own at night, whereas a boy possibly doesn't think anything of it.